the reason why I contacted you to have this conversation in the first place was a post on Instagram that you posted about queuing Foley.
Queuing. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness, yes.
and so to give a bit of perspective, you are basically a Foley mixer. That is your main profession, right?
Yes, I've started with queuing 8 hours, 10 hours a day. For about 3, 4 years, I would queue every day. So it was my like main focus on queuing. So we had to go nail down every little detail and try to perfect the idea of queuing and what its purpose is and what is it serving, and how far can it serve. Because a really good queue can actually serve all the way up to the re-recording mixer, not
Mm.
just a queue for someone to look at and say, oh yeah, somewhere in this area there's like a tree branch moving, so let's see where it is. It's not a suggestion. So it needs to be accurate and where exactly it needs to be. And so the descriptions need to be short and very quick, and that gets you to the destination very fast. In a session that we're doing 500 to 700 sounds a day, there's no time to wander around and see where this cue belongs, or all those things. So that's how I got to um, I learned some of it from a really good mixer that taught me a lot of things back then when I was learning. He's a martial arts master. His name is
Mhm.
Kyle Billingsley. He's not in the entertainment industry anymore, but he's teaching Pakwa in Burbank. He has a master, he's a master in Pakwa and teaches martial arts. But he was also a very good master in the post-production side. So he had the same kind of wisdom and knowledge when he was teaching me how to mix, how to cue. And, he put that seed in me that I understood, like, okay, this is how the mentality should be, not like, oh, just do it and send the session. So I always think about who's the next person that's getting my session? What do they like? What do they don't like? There's so many mixers that don't like this, don't like that. Talk to them, ask them questions. There's no right or wrong way. It's just different ways. But the accuracy of the session has to be always accurate.
Mm.
There's no
There's no discussion
before,
about
there's
that.
no early or late. It needs to be
Yeah.
on the frame. Like that is different. But anything else in there, anything else, if you have someone cue a session, it better be accurate. And then it comes to all these other preferences where, okay, how track layouts should be, or how do they like it, or then there's also the standard of what people have created in this industry doing. So before we had only a standard of 8 tracks of feet and 8 tracks of props, and then one cloth.
Mm.
And then when you're in a time that you have unlimited tracks, that you can divide these props to many, many categories to make it so much easier for the artist and the Foley mixer to go through passes. Why wouldn't we do that? Why are people
Mm.
still queuing with 8 tracks of feet and 8 tracks of props? And then they mix all the main characters into different tracks and different places. And then you're doing a character with a certain shoe on a certain surface that you had to build, like a metally, rattly surface that you need to, build for it or whatever. And then you're doing the cues and you're like, you think that it's all done, you've done with the character, and then you go to the next track, you change shoes, change the surface, all this, you're starting another character, and then you come across that other character's cue that you already finished. And you're like, why is it on this other track? Now we have
Mm.
to build the same surface, same thing, and then it doesn't sound consistent. It's all problems again, go back to that character. So we had so many of those instances that you have to come up with a solution and figure out a template or something that's more efficient. The efficiency is the key. So I'm talking
And
too much.
no, no, all good. I mean, it's really interesting because for me in Germany and basically in Europe, I can maybe to say that we don't use queuing too much with the Foley. We only use that
Yes,
in
I heard
ADR.
that. I heard that they don't really use cues, right? They just go by, just do this scene, make sure you cover the Foley, and then
Yeah, that's basically it.
basically,
We
yes.
just watch the scene and then we decide, okay, we do this, 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 that's
Mhm.
important, and Yeah. Sometimes I do a cloth pass for a whole reel, and then
Yes.
I do footsteps for the reel, and then I do the props, or I do the whole thing, and then props in the end. It depends.
Yes.
Sometimes
It will
also
make
go
your
scene
life
by scene.
so much easier if you have accurate cueing. It's like someone else has done the thinking for you. They put the placements, the surface changes. So, for example, when I cue someone that's going to walk on different surfaces from concrete to wood to grass to dirt or whatever,
Hmm.
I have the cue. And then every time the footstep goes like changes right on that frame where it goes to the next surface, I have to break the cue. I label it to grass, to wood. And there's a break mark that you see and you clearly see to wood, to grass. So there's no mistake on what surface is next. So first of all, that makes it easy for the recording, the mixer that's recording the Foley because they see all these surfaces. And if the Foley artist catches the surface change, so if it's some surface that's close to each other, and sometimes the artist can swap the space right there, like the surface,
Mm.
and if they catch it right on the spot, perfect. If they don't, you always have that cue. You can drag it down. And then if they don't catch it, you already know where to hit record and go back and record right away without messing time, without talking to each other, without thinking about anything. There's the cues right there. You just hit, tap to the cue and hit record, and you're ready to go in record for the next surface. It just doesn't waste time.
That's
And
a huge advantage.
yes, huge advantage. And when we work, we don't really communicate like verbally, but we both feel each other's like where we are and how we're going with the fast pace. So it becomes this mutual connection between the Foley artist and the mixer. If the cues are good, it even bonds that connection between you and the mixer. Then you don't even have to say anything. They know they have to do it again. You know, you have to go and record again. Just happens magically, just goes cue after cue after cue. And just, it's like a meditated session when it's good cueing.
Mm.
It's that important. But when it's not, it constantly you hiccup. They have to stop. Oh, you're like, the cue goes, you go beep, beep, beep. And you're ready to walk. And the character is just standing like that. You're like, where, who's this cue for then? What are we doing here? And then so I have to stop and then look to see where the character is moving, and then I'll go back and find the frame where the foot is going to be on that surface. Then go back and record again. And so if you have cues that are constantly like that, that's a no. That's a please re-cue the session again.
So the whole queuing process is an art of
Yes.
itself. And it
Yes.
also takes a lot of time, right? To cue a
Yes.
whole movie.
Yes, if you queue, for example, a TV show, a 45-minute TV show, you have to put at least like 8 hours to queue the show.